Hello, everyone. Zach here to help with humanity's shift in consciousness. And how I'm helping today is a friend of mine came into my inbox earlier on and expressed how they were really upset with how things are unfolding today with the USE, and very afraid they were, very afraid they are, and just need some support and some upliftment and just some reassurance that everything's going to be okay, because a lot of people are very worried right now, very scared about how things could develop. Because, of course, there's always this kind of knock on effect with the United States and how their systems can affect specifically the United Kingdom, but also the entire world. So I thought, well, it was just the other day I did a presentation on the effectiveness of love energy cultivation. And this is a process that's very simple. It's very effective as well in being able to raise the whole of yourself up by raising your frequency, bringing in love energy into yourself, which is going to really quell and soothe that fear and that anxiety and that sadness as well. And one more thing I just want to say is, yeah, things may appear a certain way right now, but all of this corruption, all of this dark corruption is going to be exposed in the time to come, possibly very imminently. And I mean very imminently. This is what I've heard and gathered from all of my sources. And they're all saying very similar things. So do not fear. Perhaps the best is yet to come. Anyway, I don't want to get too political. I don't want to get too into that. Let's just get straight into this love energy cultivation process that I'm about to present to you now. So much love to you all. Peace be with all, and infinite love to everybody and everyone. Thank you. Blessings. Right, so my name is Zach Hater, and as I said, I've been in this audience, among this audience for the past, 6 years now, watching a lot of Brad's content, as many people have here, and we've all learned a lot. And one thing that I have been finding recently, over the past few months, is, of course, 2020 for so many of us has been such a very shadow work kind of time. So a few months ago, I had a particular moment where some time where I was going through the, of course, shadow coming up, and I had to bring love to it. And I found I kind of stumbled across this by accident. So I was going through some heavy times. I was depressed for a while, and of course I was doing the BCR technique that, of course, Brad shares on his channel, as well as the TC technique. And I just found this, I just started saying, I love you to myself, essentially, over and over and over again. And I found it worked just like the visualization method with the BCR technique. But it's a great effect as well. It was really powerful, and it shifted me out of a depression within a couple of minutes that I'd been in for a few days. So it was amazing. It was quite a revolution for me, a revelatory moment for me at that time. So here I would just like to share with you the short presentation, because the effectiveness of affirmation in love energy cultivation. So, of course, as I mentioned, this really works well, I found, as a complement to the BCR and TC techniques. So, of course, with the BCR technique, focusing mostly on the BCR here, although it works as well with the TC technique, but the TC technique relies upon, in a way, the love energy that's cultivated within the BCR technique. So the BCR technique primarily, at least my observation of it, is that we are cultivating the love energy through visualization. But in this particular process, it's very simple, that I'm going to share with you now. It's through affirmation. So, of course, combining that intention of visualization with that intention of spoken affirmation, it's just very powerful. And combining the two together, it's like some great effects that can come from it. So, yeah, so essentially the tone, the whole theme of this is essentially, of course, with this whole idea is we want to build up our love energy quotient, our light quotient within our bodies, essentially. And of course, this is why it shares, at least in my perspective, the very same principles that of raising one's consciousness and physicality to that of the rainbow body. It's using the same method of spoken mantra, affirmation, incantation, in order to generate a response within the body. And so, of course, many on this channel, but of course, those who are not aware of this, I'm sure that many here have understood and come across this idea of the rainbow body in the past. And of course, many hundreds, thousands of people throughout time have been able to bring and elevate their consciousness up and their physicality in the process to that of the rainbow body. And of course, I know I'm not entirely familiar with it, but I know as a fundamental part of that practice is this need of, essentially, they'll go into a cave and they'll, I think, sit or lie down on their side and essentially just spend hours and days repeating the same incantation over and over and over again until their body literally starts metamorphosizing. I'm not sure how quite to describe that, but it changes and essentially changes its density. So this is essentially what we're doing, but on a kind of a more, how should I say, perhaps a lighter level. We're doing essentially the same thing. We're saying, for example, I love you, I forgive you, and all of this stuff over and over again. So it builds up the level, the light quotient. Okay, so what I would suggest to start with this affirmation process is starting with like a baseline of affirmation, something that you can repeat over and over again. And I found what has been most effective for me is simply, I love you, because it's just saying that to yourself, I love you. That is, to me, that is like pure kind of love intention. And it's just, it works if you make it work. So that's what I'm going to suggest, is at the start of this whole process of, say you're in the middle of an emotional conflict, you're crying your eyes out, or you're really angry, or you're really afraid, and you're going through your BCR technique, for example, you're going through the breathing, and then you're going into the state of calmness, and now you're going into positive reinforcement, where you're bringing in that love energy. You're combining, using the process of using visualization. You can also use this process of affirmation. So just starting off with, I love you, I love you, I love you. And just at first, it can seem, of course, a bit strange, and just repeating it over and over again, and it just, something can switch. It might not feel like anything's happening straight away, but something will switch, and you'll start to feel the love energy building up within you. And so that's the baseline of this, is I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you, as many times as you feel is needed. But of course, I found, of course, intention is the most important thing as well. So, and of course, it's not just limited to I love you. And you don't even have to use I love you as your baseline affirmation. There's also other affirmations that we can use as well. And of course, it's really good to choose affirmations that are appropriate for what you're going through at the time, and affirmations that are going to positively reinforce you in an appropriate way for the time. So, for example, I am here for you. I hold you unconditionally. I have the utmost compassion for you. I am sorry for what you've been through. I forgive you. You are loved. I've got you. It's okay. I welcome you back into the whole of who I am. I recognize you as a part of me that wants to be expressed and loved unconditionally. I cherish and treasure your presence within me. You are welcome to come home now. I allow you to be here. I embrace and accept you as you are. You are valuable to me. And these are just a few examples. There's so many more that you can create and just use to your own best effect. And of course, intention is everything I've found with this. The more it's okay just saying, I love you, I love you, I love you over and over again. And while that can still work, if you really mean it and you really feel it when you're speaking it, and you really embrace yourself with a hug and you really intend to nurture yourself, kind of really tapping into your feminine aspect, whether you're male or female, and just really getting intimate with yourself to nurture yourself, almost like your own mother would. And just really focusing on that, like kind of getting yourself into a cozy, curly ball and just saying, I love you, I'm here for you. And this, you're reparenting yourself. And so, of course, as well, focus the affirmations towards the emotion itself. If you do actually have an emotion present, or you're just building up your love energy. Because, of course, focusing that intention of love, compassion, and forgiveness and support towards the emotion is what it needs in order for it to be healed and integrated. And as I was saying before, if you do not feel a shift in your vibration straight away, then that means that more love energy must be cultivated, and there may be some lack to dissolve, or some kind of emotional wall that needs to be melted with love a little bit more in order for you to really start feeling elevated. So it's just being patient and staying consistent and just putting that loving intention in. And just surprising, I was able to, as I was saying, I think it was a couple of days a few months back, I was depressed, and I let myself be depressed. I was like, I've got all these tools in my head. It's like I know how I can elevate myself out of this, but I just chose to sit in the lack. I just chose to sit with the depression for a while until I got to the point where I was like, right, there's nothing good that's coming of this anymore. I've got all these lessons, time to level it up. And so I put out this affirmation to myself. I snapped out of that depression that I was in for 2 days in 2 minutes, just like you can with the BCR technique. And I just feel this is a very powerful and useful way to do it. And of course, you can practice it anywhere, at any time, that you're not just confined to what particular circumstances. So yeah, it's really that simple. And of course, you've got this little graphic that I made, but yeah, that's just for fun. And of course, as well, you can get very specific. So say if you've got a particular trauma that you're going through, for example, abandonment, you can focus on things that make you feel connected again in a way, or something that's going to positively reinforce. So with abandonment, I know that affirmations that really help me are, I am with you, I'm your best friend, you are not alone. It's getting on your own side again, having this version of myself now hugging that younger version of myself, and we're walking down the road together and having a great time as best friends. And that's very healing for me with my own abandonment stuff that I've been through over time. So rejection as well. And rejection, you are worthy, you are lovable, you are strong. Now again, these are all just examples, but it's really good to be able to get creative with what's going to work for you in the moment. And of course, abuse, you are safe, you are protected, and no harm will come to you now. More examples, but they just kind of pinpoint that pain point of what you're experiencing in that moment. Because ultimately, you know what you're feeling, and you know what the opposite is of what you're feeling and what it is that you want to feel. So there we go. I hope that this bit of information helps someone out there, because I know how powerful it is combining it with the BCR as well. May it help many, and may you be able to bring so much love into yourself, all of the creator's love into yourself, that you are able to melt all of your internal strife away. So infinite love to you all. That's all I really have to say at this point regarding this presentation. So thank you, Brad, and thank you, everyone, and much love to you all.
Great, thank you.